Hello, everybody. My name is Ingi. I am 40 years old and I'm part of RT136 in Tórshavn. And I'm going to start by saying how I started a club in the Faroe Islands. So I've been a tabler since 2013, primarily in Denmark, but then I moved back to the Faroe Islands in 2022. And the Faroe Islands is a country in the Danish kingdom. It's midway between Norway and Iceland and has a population of about 55,000. This is the capital, Tórshavn, with a population of about 24,000. And this is where I was born and raised. And after being a tabler for 9 years in Denmark, it was quite difficult for me to move back to the Faroe Islands where there was no round table and I didn't have a similar networking group. So I decided to try and start my own group. And fortunately, the local district in Denmark donated about 2,000 euros to see if I could start up a club in Tórshavn. So what I did was I then started working on a project plan, which started with finding potential candidates. So what I did was that I categorized which industries I wanted to have represented in my group. So for instance, I wanted 2 people who worked in banks, 2 real estate agents, 2 lawyers, 2 carpenters, and so forth. And I found a lot of potential candidates by scouring through company websites. So for instance, with lawyers, I went through, I think it was about 7 or 8 law firm websites, because there aren't more than 7 or 8 law firms in the Faroe Islands. So it was quick for me to go through those and see which ones, which employees were about 30 years old and were male. So that gave me a list of about 75 potential candidates. I also picked up some potential candidates from local media stories where they highlighted, for instance, entrepreneurs or young politicians and that kind of stuff. My next list, or my next point on the project plan was to make cold calls to these potential candidates. So I made a 2-minute telephone pitch, which concluded with an invitation for a coffee meetings. And I ended with doing about 65 calls. So before the coffee meetings, I produced a little bit of a couple of flyers with general info about Roundtable, what it is, and what are the benefits of joining the network. Then I went to this orange building in the middle and held these coffee meetings and ended up with having about 45 coffee meetings, which were one-to-one meetings with these potential candidates, and then telling them a bit about, what do we do in Roundtable. And those coffee meetings concluded with an invitation for our upcoming free intro meetings. So we set up 3 intro meetings where the candidates could experience what an RT evening is about. So the first one we had was with an external speaker, and this guy was the only guy from the Faroe Islands who has ever been up on Mount Everest, and he explained a little bit about that. So that was a really good evening. And the second one was a business visit where we got some behind the scenes look at one of the most successful businesses in the Faroe Islands. So that was the second intro meeting. And the third one had a more social character where we tried paddle tennis. So those were the 3 intro meetings that we had. And they were free and they were non-committal, meaning you could just show up for all 3 of them without committing to any sort of membership or anything. Then I gave the candidates about a month to think about, okay, is this something that I would want to join? And do I want to pay the membership fee? And is my boss okay with me spending so much time with it? And is my family okay with spending so much time on Roundtable? And after calling all the potential candidates again, we ended up with 18 members or 18 tablers in addition to myself. And fortunately, that was enough to start a new club. So this shows you a little bit about the numbers that you should expect in order to end up with 18 tablers. I started off with the wish list of 76, and then gradually the list decreased down to 18 that were committing to starting a new club. So it takes a lot, but it's definitely worth it in the end. So today we are a healthy club with about 23 members. Our meetings are of very high quality thanks to the standard that we set during the intro meetings. And we have a lot of international travel as well, partially thanks to our IROs who are quite generous with the golden tickets. So that is definitely a plus for that as well. So in conclusion, the recipe that I followed was that I got startup capital from the local district. I made a project plan, which included researching potential candidates, making a cold call pitch, and then performing those cold calls, having coffee meetings, and then having 3 free, non-committing, and high-quality intro meetings. And that led to 18 members, 18 tablers, in addition to myself, to start up a new club. So I hope this has given you a little bit of inspiration. And if you have any questions or wanna ask me anything, then my contact details are on the screen, and don't be shy in contacting me. So thanks for listening in, and have a great day.